She declassified this report yesterday, has many more details. You know, I have this creation of the Russia hoax that you put out on X, that you posted on X, and I'll put it up as you're speaking here. What is amazing to me as I've gone through this cache of documents you've released is they concluded just the opposite. They concluded there was no problem. And then all of it, that was the rank and file. These were career people in the intel community. They gave honest assessments. Then all of a sudden it ends up in the hands of the leadership, the deep state as we call them, and what happened to it. Can you explain what the process and what these documents reveal?
Yeah, thank you so much, Sean. This is such an important issue, and I just want to start by saying that this is an issue that is important to every single one of us as Americans. This is not a partisan issue. It has to do with the integrity and the strength of our democratic republic. And it lays out this over 100 documents that you're referencing that I released, declassified and released, spells out in great detail exactly what happens when you have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President Obama and his senior-most national security cabinet, James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice and others, essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence with the objective of subverting the will of the American people, who in November of 2016 delivered a historic victory to President Trump, defeating Hillary Clinton. And President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, endless smears and attacks against not only President Trump, but his family. He had senior members of his team who were investigated, some arrested and jailed. We had heightened and increased tensions between the United States and Russia. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people in that election in November. Now, you referenced this President's Daily Brief document that was drafted for President Obama in early December that reaffirmed what the intelligence community professionals, as you say, had been assessing for the previous 6 months leading up to the election, which was that Russia neither had the intent nor capability to essentially hack the outcome of the U.S. election. As you said, President Obama's political appointees pulled that document before it could be published, and it has not been published until we released it today. And the very next day after they pulled that document, President Obama called a National Security Council cabinet meeting to discuss how Russia interfered with the election. Again, this is the first week of December.
December 9th,
President
right?
Trump had already won. Correct.
This is the December
task
9th meeting.
that came, that's exactly right. The December 9th meeting, we declassified and released what they called the summary of conclusions from that meeting. Then DNI James Clapper took the lead on what President Obama wanted done, and which was essentially create a document that tells us not if, but how Russia interfered with the election. President Obama delivered the conclusion that he wanted the intelligence community to reach and directed them to find and essentially create and manufacture the intelligence to support the conclusion that President Obama wanted to deliver to the American people. Once
Okay, let's begin. Mia, what's your thoughts?
We need to let sleeping dogs lie, dude. Why are we going over this? I was literally falling asleep at this point in time listening to her talk. Who gives a fuck? He won. It doesn't matter. Let sleeping dogs lie. Literally, the Supreme Court already decided presidents have literal immunity. So Obama couldn't even be convicted of anything. This is what we're doing with our taxpayer money when we could be funding free lunch across the country. Like, fuck her, dude. This is ridiculous. No wonder why MAGA is so upset with these people. Like, she's wasting our taxpayer resources doing all of this. Let sleeping dogs lie and move on. I want my Epstein files.
Well, I don't even think MAGA's upset, Mia. MAGA is saying now, like, oh, I'm so excited. Obama's going to be arrested. Like, anyways, skeptic. Obama going to be arrested? What you think?
No, he's not. It's a bunch of smoke and mirrors. Also, I listened to Tulsi Gabbard, and she's conflating two different things, because we know that Trump he thinks he has a relationship with Putin. He thinks they're friends. But at the end of the day, he said he was going to end a conflict in 24 hours, and it actually ended up not happening. We saw him humiliate Zelensky in the Oval Office, and like while his country was being invaded. So I think like the thing she's conflating, which I listened to her interview. I actually, for some reason, I appreciate that Tulsi Gabbard has like a demeanor about her that seems very official, but she's full of BS. She was saying that basically the investigation that Obama was trying to ensue was that of Russia hacking the like voting machines, and that isn't true. I want to say that Russia was putting out propaganda because they liked Trump more than Hillary. Being that Trump likes Russia, even though we've never been pro-Russia, he is the one president that is pro-Russia. And then MAGA became pro-Russia all of a sudden, up until here recently when they found out that, guess what, Putin was just playing Trump. He never really even liked him either. And he wasn't going to listen to him either. So to say that Russia did not have a preference for Trump is like being disingenuous. We know that they did, and we know that Trump also has a preference for Russia. So like that aspect of it is actually true. No, they're not going to put Obama in jail. He's not going to be prosecuted. Who are they going to prosecute? So this is just a bunch of smoke and mirrors. And I think that the Epstein, I'm going to say this, and I said this on live, I give the kudos to MAGA for being right on that, because I feel like this administration wouldn't be doing the things that they're doing if there wasn't more to know about the files. And honestly, I feel like, we never spoke about it. The left didn't speak on this.
Excuse me, skeptic. Can you please say that last line again? You want to what? You want to give credit? You want to give what to MAGA?
Wait, everyone said I was an undercover when I said that. I was like, "There's no way."
you got some cool points in my mind tonight.
I'm just saying.
Say it one more time. You giving credit? Okay.
But there has to be something in there. Like they're not fighting this for no reason, and now I'm on it. Now I'm like, release the files. I never even cared, and now I'm like, hey. They might have found something. Y'all might have been right on one thing, and it was the e-files. And I say release the files. Why haven't they released the files? Why don't they let Giselle Maxwell? Why don't they let her speak before Congress? Like, let's hear it. I want to hear what's going on. I don't care, Democrat or Republican. They all need to be put in jail. That's gross.
True. Enzo. All right, let's say this. I give you this. I believe that they found something, but I'm gonna give skeptic this too, Enzo. I also believe that this is a distraction. Tell me why it's not, and is Obama going to be arrested?
It's not a distraction from anything. This is what needed to be happen. This is what needed to happen. I'm sorry to say, they've been throwing everything, every wrench in the wheel against Trump since 2016. Are we going to sit here and really say that this is all fake? This is all just to get rid of the Jeffrey Epstein shit? No, it's not. This was going to be investigated the same way that the whole January 6th committee, all of that's going to be investigated. The same way with everything with Biden is going to be investigated, because it has been right in our faces the entire fucking time. Obama needs to be charged with treason and executed for it. At the end of the day, That's how I feel. I'm sticking with it. This isn't a distraction from Epstein. Epstein files should have been released in 2023. That's all I'm going to say. The same time that they gave the flight logs, why didn't they give us the rest of it? If and I'll give the olive branch to the Democrats and say, okay, well, if Trump is on that list, why didn't you redact every other name that you didn't want to expose and give us those paperwork just to nail Trump to a cross? Just so he couldn't be reelected, because I, right hand to God, will say this. If Donald Trump is on those lists at any capacity that he's done anything with a child, I would have not voted for him. And if I find that out, I will denounce my vote for Trump. I will not support Trump whatsoever. But you're never going to do it. He's not a part of those lists. He's a part of the flight logs 6 times from Florida to New York with Ivanka and Tiffany. That's it. That's all you're ever going to get. There's nothing, no wrongdoing that Donald Trump has done with Epstein. And you can go down the rabbit hole like I did on Jeffrey Epstein and look in 2004 when Donald Trump barred him from Mar-a-Lago, 2005 when Donald Trump reported him to the authorities, 2009 when Donald Trump worked with the victims' lawyers, 2017 when he signed the executive order on the human trafficking, 2019 when Donald Trump administration, his DOJ, arrested Jeffrey Epstein, and then with the same thing with Ghislaine Maxwell. If he was so involved with Jeffrey Epstein, why wouldn't Epstein or Maxwell rat him out? Please explain that to me, guys. When Donald Trump says we're done talking about the Epstein files, I'm with him on that. 100,000% because this is a smoking gun that you guys are literally never going to get. It's never going to go off. There is more Democrats. There is more people, more powerful people on your guys' side than anybody on the right. Leave it at that.
Well, I think Ghislaine and Epstein ain't talk because they were scared of what happened to Epstein. I mean, I'm not saying he's on it. I'm just saying they ain't named no names, Enzo. And those girls testified that they were being trafficked to his friends. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
there were
no,
no
I get that.
friends listed.
Yeah. No, I get that. But this
Mm,
goes back to early 2000s. Like I said, they could have said something then.
true. Who could have said something then? Them girls?
Epstein, he could have said it because he got arraigned in 2005, and they knew Donald Trump was the one who ratted him out, who gave the info first, because the lawyer, even Alan Dershowitz talks about it, Epstein's lawyer, all the way back then.
This is my conclusion about the Mar-a-Lago thing. I know people like this, actually. Like when you talk about like people that are wealthy, right? It's all about connections and who you know and who you're associated with. And I actually know people that will like unfriend you, or like to the public will look like they don't want to be associated with you because of whatever it is that you stand on, being conservative or liberal. And in reality, it's like in the public they can't be, seen as a certain way. I know a lot of people that do this. And in reality, in their personal life, they just can't post stuff, or they can't be seen doing certain things. And so if you post, if you're very kind of, I know people that kind of post their whole life on social media, and every time they go out, they're like, hey, look at us. Well, they don't want to be seen or associated with that. And so they kind of like unfriend you in a nice way. To me, that's what Trump did, because behind the scenes, they were still friends and they were still acquainted, and you can still track them together. So like, I'm just going to say that.
Sounds like a conspiracy.
Tom, what's your thoughts?
I look at it in 2 pieces. One, read the room, Trump. Like time and place. I think that I have to look at it from a critical standpoint as a father. If I were the father of these victims and you sat here and you didn't make this your priority, bridges would be burned. At the same time, I do have to agree that this should be investigated. As the saying goes, all roads lead to Rome. Hillary herself brought this whole situation to light. She made a legal team that Trump had to actually go and shut down because they were spewing a bunch of nonsense with no actual proof. And that legal team got shut down because they couldn't actually provide any information. Again, Secretary of State under Obama, when all this information was being released, the hoax was brought up. They created a propagandized list of information that they could not back. And now we're looking at it, almost 10 years later, and we're going to sit here and say, oh yeah, that didn't happen. I mean, we can't forget Hillary said it herself. She brought up the whole Russian hoax thing. So at the end of the day, we can't deny the fact that the left wasn't bringing that up. They didn't, attribute to that. Do I think that that's a priority right now, though? No. I want the Epstein list.
Fair enough. Kamal, what's your thoughts?
Man, the chat jumping right now. Y'all talking shit to each other and stuff like that. Hey, Island, Horizon Video, anybody with the first name Island taking L's. Island Boys, Island Yo ass, get the fuck out the chat with your dumb ass. Talking that bullshit. He know what I'm talking about. He know what he put in the chat. You feel me? But what do I
This is what the island people have to say to you.
When they go low, we go high.
You're right.
Nice.
But you too, Enzo.
I'm sorry, what?
Obama.
What about him? Take him out.
He ain't going nowhere, bro.
Bullshit.
This is what Obama has to say. Like, seriously, real talk.
So in love.
All right, I'm sorry. I'm done. I'm done joking. All right, go ahead. Come on.
To be honest, man, Tulsi Gabbard, where the hell her name is. First of all, Doc, that was the funniest shit I done seen in the chat when you said MAGA Rogue, because she did look like she was trying to look like Storm and Rogue put together in one off the X-Men. You feel me? But second of all, real talk, her talking was putting my ass to sleep too, Mia. I'm like, God damn, would this woman shut the hell up? Jesus Christ. God damn. She was just crickets. I'm like, bro, I'm tired of hearing this shit, yo. This is like, I ain't gonna lie. I tuned out after like 30 seconds of her babble, bro. I was like, man.
I'm Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
And I'm just like,
Donald Trump, and I approve this message.
My thing is this, man. It's like, man, just shit that people keep trying to pull up in the past. They trying to do it with Trump. Now they're trying to do it with Obama. Man, this shit is just all babble, man. This shit sound all babble to me. At least make it funny shit. At this point, if your babble ain't funny, then I just want to cut it off. You feel me? And is Obama gonna go to jail? I don't the fuck know, but he need to shut the fuck up talking about kids need gay mentors.
Oh my God. What's wrong with gay mentors? There will be no homosexual slander. Damn it.
He said boys need mentors of the LGBTQI plus community. You know what I have a problem with? Why the fuck are we talking about sexuality when it comes to kids?
I think he was talking about like
mentors?
having like people that can, like, if you have a son who is gay, you'd like to have someone who can understand their viewpoint. I feel like that was the context of that.
That's being a father. That's being a father.
Having a mentor isn't going to make you gay, right? You either are or you're not.
I'm missing the whole point I'm saying.
We got to play the clip. You got to play the clip and we'll all decide. Let's watch the clip.
The new
roll the clip. We talked about that last night. Gray, what do you want me to do? We already talked about that.
I'll say my part on this. Trump has had 30,573 false or misleading claims, according to the Washington Post fact checker. This averages out to approximately 21 falsehoods per day. The frequency of these claims steadily increased throughout his presidency, culminated in the nearly half of the total being made in his final year. So it was Russian interference happened. So Trump is just making up something, and the best way to tell a lie is to add some truth to it. So just to say it was real Russian meddling, but just say, oh, Obama did it and it was manufactured towards me. So that's what I would say towards that.
Fair enough. All right, y'all. We're going to move on to